Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that green on the altcoins as we are getting a little bit of a bounce here on Bitcoin. Now guys, we have been following my Alpha momentum pools for the last couple weeks, ever since we topped out on Bitcoin and just started to put lower high after lower high after lower high. And of course, the market has been pretty depressive in that, especially as we've also been putting in lower lows. All of that suggested a potential downtrend, and that's why your altcoins, of course, would be bleeding. We do have the potential that we are starting to put in a potential higher low, and I did suggest in the last episode that we should take a look at this area. However, for our last couple pools, you can see that I outlined, this is the momentum pool over here between my green lines, and then we have the volatility pivot, which is a white line, and we just have to flip that in order to gain our bias to the upside. So back here in, around June 11th or so, we had to flip that. We just weren't able to do it. That was your idea that maybe you want to get out of the market or even perhaps short should we get under that Bollinger Band midline, that teal EMA, that 21 EMA that I have on my chart. Guys, of course, I did another update somewhere around the 22nd, and then we had as our volatility pivot around 64,000, and the momentum pool was a little bit wider. That's just a little foggy area. As long as price is inside of that momentum pool, you can't really tell, what your bias is strongly to the upside or to the downside. But above that, really to the upside. Below that, potentially strongly to the downside, which we did experience. We just weren't able to flip that zone in the next couple days, and that was the critical area that I had pointed out for you. Had we gotten into that pool and then captured that Bollinger Band midline, at least we would have had that bias to the upside, and we simply did not get it. But guys, I said don't fret, because we have this area, right? We have this area where we could, if we drive down into it, we could put in a 1 month long hidden bullish divergence. And guess what happens? We hit that zone, right? We hit that zone almost to the T, right in the middle of it, and have started to now plateau off of that area, which does suggest to me there is a high likelihood that that hidden bullish divergence could just get set into stone here. And we are looking for that in this reaction rally. And make no mistake about it, it is a reaction rally only right now. Of course, if we do lose this low, you could have sudden regret, as that hidden bullish divergence will disappear. That's just the nature of how divergences work. And of course, we've been tracing this downtrend coming off of a couple of bearish harmonics. But guys, we have now printed a bullish harmonic. Okay, we do have this kind of bat harmonic in the background, and we do have some suggestion here that it could hold off of that hidden bullish divergence. And now we are on a breakout watch of this little bit of a downtrend that's been giving us hassles for several weeks now, and hopefully into July we can break out of it. Yeah, maybe we're going to have a deep pullback. Sometimes that happens on these very steep downtrends where you break out and just have a very steep check back, okay? So don't be too freaked out if that happens. We really do want to preserve that low around that $58,000 level, and of course we don't want to break that level around that $56,000 level. But assuming that we don't really do any of those things, then just going sideways is a pretty good deal. And we do have a bearish order block above our heads here, which could give us some resistance somewhere in that $65,000 to $67,000 area, and then again in that $70,000 to $72,000 area, where we also have the supply line that's just been drawn up ever since Bitcoin basically peaked out. And really, what we need to do is we need to somehow chug along in this area, right, and then flip this zone, and then off we go back into the bull market. And if we're not able to do that, if we get a hard rejection here, if we get a hard rejection here, then it could be game over. Maybe the bull market's over. I'm not ready to call that. Okay, a lot of people are just getting super paranoid and they're ready to call the end of the bull market. I'm not ready to call that yet, Alpha Fam. Of course, we are just middling here in this range, and so we're going to be looking for opportunities. Now, I have given multiple calls in the group. If you are in the Discord, of course, if you're not, the link is in the description of the video below, in the boosted section, and we have just been making like 40% gains off of this bottom, and so it is a nice moment to see a little bit of bullishness coming back to the market. Time for shorting is a little bit long in the tooth, okay? And now we're going to be looking for some long opportunities. And of course, if I do give you an updated pool, what we're looking at here really is we need to flip that volatility pivot at 60,560. And as of today, okay, maybe last night, but as of today, we do seem to be strongly putting a candle above that. And we're also shooting above my momentum pool. Now, I do have this just a little bit fattened out there to cover the bear zone and the pivot, just because it's going to be a little bit of a foggy kind of mess in between the bear zone and the volatility pivot, which is that upwards bias if we're above it, and then this is kind of a downwards kind of depressive bias if we're below it. So I do think the pool can be extended between the bear zone and the volatility pivot. Normally, for those who've been with me for years, you understand that I usually keep it between these green levels, the hold and lose momentum area here. And of course, we've flipped above that add momentum, and so we are now adding momentum to the upside while we're pushing out of that bear zone. And again, guys, if we can get out of that bear zone, hold above 61,740, then maybe we get a mean reversion to the 21 EMA here, somewhere around 64,000. If we fail in that in our first attempt, we will be looking for a second attempt to try to get up to that big alpha energy, where we will be blocked by that bearish order block. Now, if we are able to gather that big alpha energy and push up into the bull zone, then this thing could just lickety split, be back in a bull market. Of course, normally we would expect some type of resistance in all of these key levels. So it's going to be a little bit less than just straight up and down, right? Nothing goes straight up and down. There's always a bit of jitter. There's always a bit of wobble. What we want to maintain right here, strongly prefer to be above 61,740 by the close of the day. We'd like to definitely be above 61,415 to keep that added momentum to the upside. We will, however, have an upward bias as long as we're above 60,560. Now, if we're just underneath 60,890, then that's just the wick of this candle that we're creating, and that's kind of like a dicey area. So again, underneath the pool, the bias starts really just breaking down. So really, we want to be above that pool, above the bear zone, and then we're going to try to go back for the middle of the chart here. No guarantees that we're going to make it to the top of the chart, right? This could still end up being just a massive distribution, 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 and then one more distribution, and then bear market time. Okay, so I don't want to put any false hopium in your ideas either, but I do want you to understand that as long as we're conquering this little area, as long as we're putting in this a higher low, as long as we have that 1 month long hidden bullish divergence, as long as we're coming off of this bullish harmonic that we've now printed, then of course, guys, I am going to be looking to flip that Bollinger Band midline here, that 21 EMA, and doing that, we're going to be looking to take out my big alpha energy. So guys, things are looking up, at least right now. Please take the opportunities that present themselves, and that's your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.